Hey, it's Chaya and I'm back with day 13. My gosh, tomorrow it's going to be 2 weeks. 2 weeks, wow. 14 days of this. Wow. So, what I wanted to say is like this. Today's episode is a little bit lighter. After all, it's all about surrender, it's all about acceptance, really learning what it means to surrender to the process. So, today, I want you to listen to me in a different manner than you ever have before. I want you to really relax, and any thoughts that come through your brain, through your head, just allow them. Allow them to pass through. Just listen. Recognize what comes up for you, and let's not fight it. Let's accept it. What I'm learning about acceptance and surrender is that it's bigger than we can imagine. And as we go along, we get more versions of surrender and acceptance available to us. So it doesn't make a difference where you're up to in this process. It doesn't make a difference if this is the first time you're hearing me speak or you've heard me many times before. It doesn't make a difference if you've heard or practiced surrender or if you haven't. I listened to The Power of Now 30 times. Well, way more than that at this point. And the last 3 years I've been practicing it nonstop. And I still keep learning. Surrender is an act. It's an act that we keep practicing and we keep getting better at. And now I want to give you the groundwork of surrender. So, how do you deal with life? Do you find yourself fighting for a better life? Or do you find yourself enjoying the process? All of us find ourselves fighting on some level. Because the ultimate surrender, we usually have that right before we go, if we're lucky. The ultimate surrender is an act that we do every minute of every day. And it's a practice. It's not something you acquire, it's something you keep achieving. So, my question to you is right now, do you fight for this life or are you enjoying it? Are you enjoying the process of it? So I can talk about me and my experience as well as, and this is so cool, I keep having this where I had this client yesterday and we talked about it. We talked about surrender and really we talked about her need to fight for the life she wants, her need to fight the parts of her she doesn't want, fight for, and we talked about why are we fighting? If you really believe you're protected, if you really, really believe in the process and all the stuff you're telling me, all the stuff you want to believe, then there's no fight. And if you don't, that's okay too. How about we surrender to, I can't surrender right now. I want to, I wish I could, but right now I don't know how to do that. Today, the practice is all about also learning, but making one piece of surrender throughout all the words I say, at some point making the decision to surrender to something in your life, something about the way you feel, just something, anything, I don't care what. So I'm going to show you how you do that. So right about now, I want to surrender to the fact that I have a hard time with feeling the feeling of longing. All my life as a kid, I longed for different realities. That's how I would survive. But it was so painful that I had created this protector that instead of feeling the feeling of longing, of wanting, things to be different, I would project myself into a fantasy world. Instead of longing for, a connection with God, for example, because that hurt, I would project myself into a reality in which I had it. So I didn't have to envision it. I didn't have to envision having different parents, for example. I love them, but, different skills my parents should have different skills, let's say it that way. And I didn't have to imagine that because in my dream world, they had it. So I skipped that spot. And I want to surrender to the fact that because of that, it's really hard for me now to long for anything, to feel the feeling of longing. I just want to surrender to the fact that as I am opening up this door of feeling longing, I feel part of me that hates it. I want to surrender to all of that. That's it for now. So, when it comes to surrendering, sometimes it can be really intense, like mine. Or, and here's another example, I want to surrender that today some part of me just wants to lay in bed, watch TV, and not do any of the other obligations that I have, any of the other commitments I've made, and just wants to literally sleep through the day because I'm exhausted from a very long week. I surrender to that. It can be as simple or as intense as you want it. It can go as far as you want, as close as you want, whatever you want. This is your practice. And to really understand something here, when you surrender, what happens is that your reality is almost like a reality check, but not a painful one with guilt and shame and blame. It's a reality check with ownership. So when we surrender, we're taking ownership to the reality that is, and we surrender to the fact that there's a higher power, which we talked about yesterday, that never leaves, that's fully there, and he takes control. And today I want to actually give you another song. I find that songs for me are very anchoring and they put the lessons into it. So after this, I urge you to listen to this song. It's called I Am Already Enough. And the real true surrender is to realize that this process you're doing is important and great. But in reality, it's just to make you realize who you are already, right now. And the truest form of surrender will be when we realize, oh my God, I'm there already. I'm exactly where I always wanted to be. I can go as far as I want, but I'm there. So I want to tell you right now, for those of you who are listening, if you're hearing my voice right now, you are already enough. You're already enough. Hear that. And if any part of you can surrender to that, that would be the biggest surrender of all. Recognizing whether it's that I can't feel that, whether it's I have so much stuff that come up when I hear that, or whether it is, oh my God, one day I want to feel that. I surrender to the fact that right now I'm not there. Or, most of all, and I would love this, is I surrender to the fact that I'm already enough. And I can still do everything I want to do in life, even when I know I'm already enough. Alrighty. See you tomorrow and have an amazing day. Wherever you are and whatever you're up to, have an amazing day. See you soon.